It was only a matter of time until I had to record something like this, so I figured I'd just do it all in one swoop and get it out of the way. I am retiring from Puzzle Kingdom. But that sentence doesn't really tell the entire story there, so we're going to back it up a bit and let me talk about this. So, I became a Tetris community TO in 2019, specifically in December, where I made a Jesters tournament called Star Cup, and I hosted it inside of Wumba's Discord. And I ran that for a few months. I had a lot of fun doing it, but then once COVID hit, I wanted to scale back, focus more on schoolwork as well as doing my own streaming. So I paused that project for a little bit. During this time, I've been offered a position on the mod team at Puyo Tet World, which was a growing community led by some individuals who were very motivated at the time. But I didn't really get to doing much there before I took my break. Little did I know that accepting that moderation position and not having anything to do for so long was actually one of the most consequential things I'd ever done in my time as a Tetris community member. Because of that mod role, I got reached out to about 1 year later as I was getting more into the scene. During this time, starting at Tetris Effect Connected's release in November of 2020, that I started becoming more involved with the Tetris community again after taking quite a long hiatus. That was when I decided to upload gameplay clips of the game on my, at the time, alternate YouTube channel, which is the channel that you're watching now, and some videos gained some unsuspected traction. So, I kept playing and streaming the game, became loosely involved with the community again, but wasn't really talking to too many people until one day randomly in July of 2021 while I was working at my greenhouse social media management job. That's a wild one. A fella called Moose decided to reach out to me, who I had heard of in the past, who I've had some conversations with before just in passing, and asked me if I wanted to join the Puzzle Kingdom staff team, at which that point I had accepted. And at that point in time, my whole entire world kind of changed, as by the end of that year, I was running 2 back-to-back weekend tournaments on the Puzzle Kingdom channel, PC Open right into the first ever Snow is Infinite. And that's how I discovered that I had found a new passion into creating and organizing tournaments and video game events. From that point forward, my role just kept on sprawling and sprawling until at one point I had been chosen to become the leader of Puzzle Kingdom, a role which I held for over a year and a half, until just this weekend I had resigned from that role. I'm no longer the leader of Puzzle Kingdom. And I just kind of wanted to talk about my relationship with TOing, why I decided to do this, and what that really means. Because I'm not going anywhere. Like, this channel's still going to be running. I'm still going to be helping out with tournaments from time to time, whether it's giving advice on graphics or even still running the live streams. Like, I'm not going to be going anywhere. But this kind of gives me an opportunity to take a break and focus on some newfound passions that I found within this like 2.5 year span of me being on the Puzzle Kingdom team. And I also want to talk about what I'll be doing in the puzzle gaming community and beyond. So throughout my time at Puzzle Kingdom, I had a lot of fun, but I also had to deal with so many challenges. It was actually crazy. I had no idea what the leader role would kind of constitute when it was first given to me, but over time, I found out that I had to do so much more stuff than just running events. Specifically, the community management side, managing player bans and all that stuff is really, really difficult. I tend to say that I'm one of the more gullible people on earth, and I give a lot of benefits of the doubt, so a lot of my time during this, managing this sector, was asking people for advice, which was pretty interesting. I'm mainly more of an independent type of worker, which is something I struggle a lot with as the PK leader. I have a lot of problems asking people for help. I like to try to do as many things as possible by myself, which in a lot of cases can work out well. Like, for example, I've been able to run a lot of tournaments under the Galactic banner, which is sort of my sandbox on my own, without requiring help from any other people, but the scale of Galactic and the scale of PK were vastly different. And yeah, I needed a lot of help, and sometimes when I needed help, I did not ask for it, so that's definitely one of the biggest learning things that I took away from my time there. But one of the most important things I got out of PK were the connections I made with a bunch of amazing people. I made a lot of brand new friendships, and to those of you who are watching, who I met through PK, whether you're a viewer, you were a player, you staffed on any tournaments that I've ran, or you helped run the org with me at some point, thank you, because I would not be where I am without you guys. Within 2023, I think you could start to see just from an outsider looking in, how my interests were starting to change. I kind of wanted to enter this exploratory period, which is where I randomly stopped making Tetris content, even though you'll notice from my career as a TO, whenever I was working hard on big events, I would stop creating my own personal content. But in 2023, I wanted to make some return to streaming, and I decided that I'd do that by beginning to speedrun Super Monkey Ball Deluxe and SMB2. And this is some of the most fun creating content I've ever had in my entire career doing it. And I was a content creator well before I was in the Tetris community. Some of you may not know this, and I talked about it recently on the podcast. But I started creating content with Roblox streaming, which is crazy. But this year, I found a lot of new interests that I wanted to pursue, but my time was limited. After graduating high school, I started going to college for an IT program, and that just took up all my time from schooling again. With that, I have some other industry-related jobs. Thanks to PK, I got my first contract role, which allowed me to do some work in tournament production. Actually, to this day, I'm still contracted to run live streams for this company, which I'm also immensely grateful for. This is an opportunity I never thought would have came up. I always thought that I have to kind of build my own place within esports if I wanted to make it a job, but I'm now realizing how many opportunities are out there. And during this year, I also decided to work with Willie J, someone else who you may know, to found an organization called Nightshade, where we would run speedrunning based events. And this is kind of when I started to realize that all the burnout had been piling up. One thing that I hadn't publicly talked about much before I did a little bit of a stream talking about this while speedrunning, was that I had so much burnout from the role that I took and how deep I got into it. And I attribute this to be mostly my own fault, because at first I didn't understand what the role meant. I just knew that I wanted to take this on to keep PK running, while Moose and other leadership had other responsibilities to deal with. I wanted to step up and make sure that this brand could keep running. In addition, there was a period of time where it really only felt like I was the only person with the availability to be the leader or be in leadership and deal with these community issues and stuff like that, and that was a lot of pressure. Again, no one's fault, but it was still a lot of pressure. So I really just think I should have thought more about taking this role, or at least taking the role in the way that I did. I really should have tried to form a team around me at the beginning who could assist me with these procedures, rather than just trying to jump into it head first. And I think as I grow and as I take on more roles and as I work on more things, I'm becoming a better leader in that way of trying to be better at building teams around me. But this burnout kept on stacking and stacking. Sometimes it was hard to get out of bed to do something that I love, which is running these tournaments. And that's why I knew that a change needed to happen. And around that change is where we expanded PK and broke it into team units, where different people kind of work on different portions of each sector of the puzzle gaming community. And that certainly helped a lot, but then my school demands and other things were picking up, and I could not give PK the time that it deserved anymore, especially with all these other projects and things I need to stay involved with, my work, my school, all these other things. And just all kept piling up. And as I'm bad for asking for help, it became too much for one person, and I started to slack. And since then, the thought has especially came up in my head of leaving the leadership position. And this past weekend, I decided it was finally time to do so after a really big period of it mounting. Shouts to everyone who I asked for advice, kind of helping me try and find the best path that I could take for this, because I still love Puzzle Kingdom. I'm still on the team. I'm just not the leader anymore. I'm not in a leadership role. And Puzzle Kingdom changed my life forever. Those guys are amazing. And now Azura is in the Puzzle Kingdom leadership role, someone who I think has deserved it for quite a while. Was supposed to be in a leadership position at Team TSD before that disbanded, so she didn't really have as much of an opportunity to shine as I wanted her to. A very talented and driven TO, especially in this point where I have a lot of burnout associated with the puzzle gaming, like TOing. I know that she's going to do great. I just kind of wanted to make this video to talk about my time at PK, give a little bit of synopsis how I felt about it. Also just makes it less awkward, I think, in any other way than I could have announced it, and this kind of heart-to-heart discussion scenario. I think this is probably one of the best ways I could have talked about it, was just sitting in front of the camera and discussing it for a little bit. I just want to give some thank yous at the end to some people who've been instrumental in like my TOing career, people who kept me on the path forward. First off, Moose offered me so many opportunities, including being the PK leader, but still wants me around, still wants me to travel to all these events and help produce them with him. So I just want to say thank you so much for betting on me. You literally bet on a teenager to help run something that you founded and had a very dear association with. I will always thank you for that. In addition, the entirety of the Puzzle Kingdom team who's helped make all these events possible, thank you, because that, wow. Especially as this grew and as stuff like TWC happened, all the collaborators and people there, like that wouldn't have been able to happen without you guys. Even then, Moose had to step back up just because of the burnout I was feeling, and I, as you saw in the podcast, I did not initially believe in that idea. And there are so many people I could name. Azura for stepping up and being a great leader, thank you. To all of our repeat commentators for being the voices of our events, event staff who help run the brackets, our partners who we've ever organized with. It's hard to list them all, but you all know who you are. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And now to give a bit more of a clear explanation of my future, I will still be on helping Puzzle Kingdoms, just not in a leadership or every event kind of way. It's going to be an event by event basis. I'm finally falling into a role that I've really enjoyed doing when I got the opportunity. I'm finally falling into this kind of advisor spot, you know, where I'm just like helping orgs with the experience that I've gained and the knowledge that I have. And you know, I started the vodcast with 2 other people who've been pillars in the community, just to kind of give new perspectives to up-and-coming TOs who could really use advice or could desire a perspective from someone who could be classed as a veteran, which is crazy how I got in at such a point where some people might say that I am a veteran. And who knows, one day I may return to like full-time puzzle game TOing. Right now, I want to focus on getting through school, building up this YouTube channel. We're working with Marshmallow now to make these amazing highlight reels. I want to produce these bonus videos as well, and giving Nightshade the attention that it deserves, because that was one of the real things that I thought about with stepping back from the leader role. Is I started this speedrunning event organization kind of on a whim, and if I tried to be a leader of 2 event organizations, neither of them would get the amount of time that they deserve. And there's someone to take over Puzzle Kingdom. They deserve it. I want them to have it. It's now time for me to focus on being a content creator, an advisor, and see what I can do with the speedrunning thing. If you guys are going to stick out and support me as well as Puzzle Kingdom after this, thank you so much. At least support Puzzle Kingdom because they deserve it. They're going to be working so hard over there. I already know some of the projects that are going on, and you all are going to enjoy them so much. I just want to thank you all for watching my little monologue here, talking about retirement and all that. And I'll see you soon, because I'm still going to be streaming, making content, running events from time to time. But as far as my leadership role goes, it's a part of my life that I'll never forget, that I cherish a lot, and I'm happy that I ever got the opportunity to do it. So again, thank you to Moose for giving it to me, and thank you to you guys for supporting me during my time as Puzzle Kingdom's leader. Goodbye, everyone.